Newsline reporter Danny Hallows joins us now. Danny, what is this health fair for in Utah?
Well, in about 30 minutes, I had everything from my glaucoma screening exam and a blood pressure check, which apparently my blood pressure is perfect, by the way. But the fair is all free services provided to women so that they can feel a sense of hope with their health.
Garden of Hope. It's a perfect name on the first day of spring, but it's also a perfect name for the services that the Utah County Department of Health is trying to provide.
If you missed the Women's Health Fair today, the Utah County Department of Health offers free mammograms to those who qualify by just signing up on their website. Back to you.
Sportsline reporter Lindsay Carroll was at the press conference and has more on the legacy he's leaving behind.
Here at BYU, Dave Rose has been coaching for longer than many students have even been alive. And after 22 years, he's hanging up his coaching hat.
36 years I've been doing this. 22 at BYU, 14 as the head coach, and today's the day that I'm going to retire.
Families, friends, players, and supporters gathered together on Tuesday afternoon as Coach Dave Rose announced his retirement as BYU men's basketball head coach. Rose began his BYU career as an assistant coach in 1997 and then took over as head coach for the 2005-2006 season, where he took a struggling program and immediately turned it around. Among his many accolades, Rose was three-time Conference Coach of the Year, won 4 conference titles, and led the Cougars to 5 NIT tournaments and 8 NCAA tournaments. Jimmer Fredette, one of Rose's standout players and recent Phoenix Suns signee, took to social media to show his appreciation for his former coach, saying, "He pushed me to be the best player I could possibly be." During his 14 years as head coach, Rose recorded 348 victories, 8 NCAA tournament appearances, 13 consecutive 20-win seasons, and leaves with a .720 win percentage. And while his retirement wasn't a complete surprise,
it was time for a change, but there's always that shock factor when somebody that has coached you for so long is gone.
And Dave and his wife are huge BYU fans. And while we won't see him on the sidelines coaching anymore, they said we can be sure to catch them in the stands cheering on their Cougars. Back to you.
March Madness is underway as the NCAA tournament begins.
BYU women's team prepares for their showdown with Auburn.
Here comes Jimmer. Long range.
Jimmer's coming back to the States to finish out the NBA season with the Phoenix Suns.
And today's the day that I'm going to retire.
BYU men's basketball head coach Dave Rose retires.
Men's basketball forward Yoli Childs declares for the NBA draft.
Former BYU athletes lace up one last time for a chance to play in the NFL.
Baseball legend Ichiro Suzuki hung up his glove this week. Find out why his last game was so special.
BYU's Jaron Hall showed up big this week in BYU baseball. See the big play he made in the game.
BYU gets blown out by a tough number 4 Gonzaga in the Marriott Center last night.
That was incredible. Inside he goes again. Oh, he slides by Drummond.
Rudy Gobert is snubbed from the NBA All-Star Game.
And get ready for Super Bowl 53. Tom Brady and the New England Patriots take on the LA Rams.
I'm Michaela Hewardine.
And I'm Lindsay Peterson, and it's time for Sportsline.
Growing up, I only had sisters, so the Super Bowl the week following, or the week going up to it, wasn't that big of a deal until the day of, and my dad made sure we were watching it and it was on in the house.
Oh, I'm so excited for the Super Bowl. I have 3 brothers. It's a big deal. We pull out that 7-layer dip, so Sunday's going to be a good one.
It's going to be fun. Super Bowl weekend is here, and in just 2 days, the New England Patriots will battle the Los Angeles Rams for the coveted Vince Lombardi Trophy. Omar Jimenez reports from Mercedes-Benz Stadium, Atlanta, where the excitement is just getting started.
It's not just a football championship. It's the biggest event of the year, and all eyes are on Atlanta.
The biggest media event in the world today. Will bring over 1 million people to Atlanta. Obviously, the stadium will be sold out, and it's an opportunity, I think, for Atlanta to shine and to show its current best.
Over the course of this week, it's been about so much more than the game. There have been concerts almost every night, player autograph sessions, interactive games, and more, all to accommodate the fans.
You see the field painted the way it is and all the decor in the stadium. You know, when there's 100+ million people at home that are going to be watching this game, it doesn't get any bigger than that.
And all that planning inside the stadium has come with just as much, if not more, outside of it.
We have coordinated with over 40 agencies, federal, state, and local agencies, to make sure that public safety is a priority and that all of our visitors will have a great, safe event.
As for the stadium itself, it's no stranger to big events, hosting the Major League Soccer Championship in December, along with the NCAA Football Championship in 2018.
Hosting the national championship game was a little bit of a chance to kind of say, okay, what's a big event like? But there's nothing on the magnitude of the Super Bowl.
And all of their preparation will be put to the test Sunday night, the 53rd iteration of a game that's been a year in the making. In Atlanta, I'm Omar Jimenez reporting.
BYU loses to number 4 Gonzaga 93-63. The Cougars came out with a few defensive stops, but the Zags were too much. The Bulldogs went on multiple 10-point runs to show everyone in the Marriott Center that they are the real deal. TJ Haas scored a team high for the night, 16 points for the Cougars. Zach Celia stepped up with 13 points, and Yoli Childs added 12 points and 7 rebounds. The Zags were the better team, shooting 58% from the field and 50% from beyond the arc. The Cougars remain at home this weekend against LMU on Saturday at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. Number 25 ranked BYU women's basketball ended their 11-game winning streak in a loss to Loyola Marymount on Thursday night. The Cougs fell 61-58 to drop their first conference game of the season. Paisley Johnson led the team in scoring with 16 points, adding 6 assists and 3 rebounds. Jasmine Moody also contributed 13 points, 6 rebounds, 2 steals, and 2 assists. The women will travel to Pepperdine for their next game on Saturday, which will be broadcast on the WTV at 3 p.m.
BYU Athletic Director Tom Homo gave his annual press conference on Wednesday. When asked about the difficulty of the newly released 2019 football schedule, he says he's optimistic.
If you were to take each one of those teams at their very best, it would be wicked. But I don't know if each one of those teams is at their very best in their history right now, including BYU.
Homo is adamant about his beliefs that the Cougars have a good chance to win a large number of games next season. BYU football will open their season August 29th against Utah in Provo. The Cougs will be the only team in the nation to open their season playing 4 straight Power 5 teams. BYU football is in full reconstruction mode as LaVell Edwards Stadium gets an upgrade. The Cougars continue on the recruitment path, and Sportsline reporter Nathan Israelson went out to the stadium. Nathan, what changes are they making to the stadium?
Yeah, Lindsay, the groundbreaking work here is not too revolutionary. They're just trying to fill in, as you can see behind me, fill in these stadiums, making it easier for patrons to move around and get around the stadium. In a statement released by the university, they say the changes are intended to improve accessibility, safety, and overall patron experience at BYU football games and other stadium events. As you can see by these artist reconstructions, this will help patron flow and add additional bathrooms and ease of access to other areas of the stadium.
While we are on the topic of reconstruction, how are the Cougars progressing after last season?
While the Cougars and Kalani are in full recruitment mode with National Signing Day just around the corner, February 6th, mark your calendars, there was a signing period in December, and that signing period was the early signing period where we got guys like Jacob Conover and Chase Young to play quarterback and wide receiver. But right now the Cougars have their eyes set on guys like Trey Anderson and Cole Albright. Anderson is a 6'6" tight end from Lehigh, Utah, and hopefully he can provide a great tight end position with the absence of Don Holker and play great alongside Matt Bushman for Zach Wilson. While Cole Albright is a DN from California, he was the county sack leader with 19 sacks as a senior. He was a one-man wrecking crew and hopes to fill the void left by Taki Taki and Kafusi. There are a few running backs in the transfer portal with BYU on their mind, one from Rice and one from Florida State, but however for now it is just a rumor, and I don't want to speculate too much on rumors because, you never know.
So with all these things in mind, what are some of your way too early expectations for the Cougars this upcoming season?
Well, this is where it gets tricky. BYU's got a lot of power on offense. Zach Wilson's coming back. You got a strong offensive line, and you got some key playmakers in Bushman, Katoa, and Hefo all coming back for the offense. The defense has a lot of young players that got a lot of experience last year, but you're losing stars like Corbin Kafusi and Sione Takitaki. All that being said, the first 5 games will determine this season. Take a look at this graphic. First up, you got Utah. Utah is a rivalry game. Anything can happen. Then you got Tennessee, the Volunteers at Tennessee. Never easy to play in SEC territory. After that, you got to come home to face two Pac-12 powerhouses in USC and Washington. Two good teams that always perform well. And then after that, you got to go to Ohio, play the Toledo and the Rockets in Ohio, which we haven't done for quite a while. All that being said, however, I do believe that the Cougars will have a better season than last year, more wins, and a better bowl game opportunity. But those first 5 games, as I said, will be the key factor in this season. I think there'll be more smiling faces than sad faces this year in the stands, though, especially at home.
Thank you, Nathan, for the update. We hope the Cougars do as good as you think.
Thanks, Lindsay.
We're 10 days away from the inaugural season of the Alliance of American Football League, and with it, the launch of the Salt Lake Stallions. The AAF is an 8-team league hoping to complement the NFL during the offseason and also develop local players. The Stallions feature a roster including 10 former Utes, 5 former Cougars, and 2 former Aggies. The Stallions' first game is February 23rd versus the Arizona Hotshots at Rice-Eccles Stadium.
Number 3 BYU men's volleyball travels to California to take on number 9 UC Santa Barbara this weekend for back-to-back matches. The Cougars are coming off a bye week after victories over Penn State and St. Francis. They are currently sitting in first place in the MPSF standings. The Cougs have a perfect 4-0 record in the conference. Underclassmen Gabby Garcia-Fernandez and freshman David Gardini have stepped up for the team. BYU leads the all-time series against UCSB 42-22. Gabby Garcia-Fernandez continues to turn heads and score points for BYU volleyball and has been named a finalist for January's Off the Block National Player of the Month award. Fernandez leads the MPSF and is 3rd in the nation in kills per set with a 4.69 average. The online poll for the first round is now open and closes at 9 p.m. Friday. The championship round will be a 2-day voting event with the polls closing at 9 p.m. on Sunday.
The BYU softball team has predicted to win the WCC championship in the preseason poll. 6 players were named to the preseason All-WCC team. Libby Sugg, Lexi Taro, Riley Jensen, Bridget Fleener, Autumn Moffitt, and Carissa Virantes were all named to the team. Additionally, Libby Sugg was named to the 2019 College Softball College Player of the Year watch list. Jimmer Fredette will be coming to Utah this summer to play with his team in the basketball tournament.
Fredette trying to create some space and connects at the buzzer.
After reaching the semifinals of last year's tournament, Team Fredette earned the opportunity to host a regional site for the 2019 tournament. The regional games will be played at the Maverick Center in West Valley City this July. Last year, Fredette played alongside former BYU teammates Brandon Davies and Charles Abuo in the $2 million winner-take-all tournament. Tickets can be purchased at thetournament.com.
The complete list of NBA All-Stars was revealed yesterday afternoon. Not on the list, Rudy Gobert of the Utah Jazz, leaving fans and the Jazz organization unhappy. Despite being the reigning Defensive Player of the Year, Gobert still didn't make the cut. The 26-year-old 7-footer averages 15 points, 13 rebounds, and 2 blocks a game. 10 starters were picked for the All-Star game from a 50% fan vote, 25% media vote, and 25% player and coach votes. The player with the highest number of votes is named as the team captain. 14 reserves are then picked by coaches in the league. Last night, the All-Star Game reserves were announced, but not everyone is happy. Kelsey Carlson joins us now. Kelsey, what's ruffling fans' feathers?
To say fans are not happy might be an understatement after the NBA Defensive Player of the Year didn't make the cut. The time is coming. The All-Star Game is almost here. All-Star champions LeBron and Giannis are picking their teams on February 7th, but for the first time, the world will be watching. The draft pool has 8 starters and 14 reserves, but one person not on that list is Rudy Gobert. This Utah Jazz Golden Boy from France won Defensive Player of the Year, and the money question is, how did that happen? Who can forget the blocks, rebounds, and that 15-point average? So it's not surprising there's a lot of opinion on the snub of the season. But social media has some choice words for the All-Star gods that picked this. Ricky Rubio, who is a Jazz teammate and point guard, tweeted, "Rudy is not an All-Star. I guess defense and winning means nothing." And Jazz president Steve Starks saying, "Rudy deserved to be named an All-Star. Complete nonsense. We need more integrity and accountability. If the coaches vote, their ballots should be made public." Even the Salt Lake City Police Department tweeted out this photo saying, "Our investigation into the NBA All-Star snub of Rudy Gobert has discovered this undoctored photo of the NBA's coaches voting, having a picture of the Netflix film Bird Box. So I think it's safe to say we're not too happy with the casual skimming over of Gobert, and he probably isn't either, missing out on that $1 million All-Star bonus. So, All-Star Game airs on February 17th in Charlotte, North Carolina. You can watch the draft and the game on TNT.
The New York Knicks made headlines yesterday by trading star center Kristaps Porzingis. Porzingis' new team and who they got for him when we come back.
Rondo, thought about it. James will shoot it. Bingo.
LeBron James is coming back for the Lakers after the longest injury layoff of his career.
And if you've ever wondered what it's like to take a jump off the high dive, stay tuned.